Most parents are wary of the so-called heavy metal music.
Salut à tous, METALXS, c'est l'essentiel de l'actualité métal et dérivé en quelques minutes, le tout en images, en musique et en interview. METALXS est une exclusivité RIFFX by Crédit Mutuel, la plateforme de toutes les musiques, tous les talents en partenariat avec Art Force. C'est parti! Entre Halestorm et METALXS, disons-le, c'est une histoire de presque 10 ans. Petit flashback, nous avions rencontré le groupe sur sa tournée The Strange Case of, début 2013 au Bataclan, quelques mois après le lancement de notre émission, et l'avions retrouvé la même année au Zénith, puis au Trabendo au printemps 2014, où nous avions assisté à ses balances et visité son tourbus. Les rencontres s'égrènent d'année en année. Il paraissait donc normal qu'en ce mois de novembre 2022, nous soyons au rendez-vous de sa tournée européenne, Halestorm, se produisant avec Bridge et Mammoth WVH dans la capitale. L'occasion de retrouver la toujours souriante Lizzie et de parler de l'actualité immédiate, car ce 16 décembre, le groupe sort une édition de luxe de son plus récent album en date, Back from the Dead, augmenté de titres inédits. Nous avons posé la question la plus simple qui soit à Lizzie. Pourquoi et surtout, pourquoi maintenant?
You know, long story short, we had a lot of extra songs that we had written that didn't necessarily fit into the puzzle piece of the main album, but we still love very much, and so we feel like, I don't know, just maybe it's a selfish thing for us, but we want to show the world those songs as well. So releasing a deluxe is just a great way to do that.
Délivrer autant de nouveaux matériels, c'est carrément gonflé, car ça aurait très bien pu faire un nouvel album ou un EP.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know, we didn't get to where we are by playing it safe, so we have to live a little dangerously. But it's interesting because there's, you know, we're releasing 7 extra songs in addition to the album, and then different artwork, just little things that the fans can collect and all of that. But I don't know, it's just fun because each of these songs has its own different personality. And like I said, they didn't necessarily go with the collection that we decided to go with for Back from the Dead. So it's been interesting because we just released one of the B-sides called Mine, and it was just something fun that we did, and we weren't really thinking about whether anyone was going to like it, and it's kind of taken on a whole life of its own. So we're very surprised at that, but we're very glad.
Beaucoup ont été étonnés qu'ils aient choisi Mine comme nouveau single, un titre aux sonorités pop presque à la No Doubt et qui ne représente pas le Halestorm qu'on connaît habituellement.
It's so funny. I love how you said No Doubt because there's somebody said Garbage, someone said No Doubt, someone said Billy Idol, and then Pat Benatar. So it just depends on who's listening to it, which I guess that's the power of music, I suppose. It was definitely my first choice, but we didn't realize that it was kind of this collective opinion that everybody had, like, no, that one should be the one to lead. And yeah, it's just such a fun track. We ended up playing it for the first time 2 days ago in Budapest, playing it out live. And we were so nervous about that because like it's so different than everything else in our set. But everybody loved it. And the craziest thing is it's only been released for, I feel like, about 3 weeks. And there were people in the audience singing the song. And I'm like, what? You already know this? It's amazing. So yeah, it was a lovely moment.
Don't call me
Le groupe aurait pu choisir Heavy Mental, Fuck Yeah, qui s'inscrivait plus dans la continuité et la sécurité par rapport aux fans.
There wasn't really a debate. I love Heavy Mental as well. That song was written by myself at about 3 in the morning. Right after we started going into the studio, I was very inspired, but I was also kind of searching for what the next mood and the next language for this album was going to be. So we didn't have Back from the Dead yet. So ended up writing this song just because I thought it was funny. And also I was kind of, it was a way to make fun of the fact that everybody was so stressed out all the time, you know? So it was just kind of this like, all right, I'm going to laugh about it. I'm a little crazy, but I'm going to laugh.
Parmi les formats que le groupe sort, il y a une cassette. Alors, retour aux sources et au vintage.
Because we haven't had a cassette since we first started the band. So my drummer is also my little brother, and he and I started this band when I was 13 and he was 11. And our first experience in the studio, it was much cheaper for us to make a cassette than to make a CD. So we decided to make a cassette, and so it's been 25 years this year since we started that. And so we thought, well, why not? Why not, break out a cassette, go a little old school. If you want to listen to the songs, you don't have a cassette player, it's just something that you can keep. Also, if you actually do have a cassette player, which I don't have a cassette player, so I don't know how I'm going to listen to my own deluxe. But yeah, just for fun, just something different.
L'album Back from the Dead aurait-il été différent s'il n'avait pas été enregistré en pleine pandémie mondiale?
This album would be a completely different album if things had just remained normal. Because usually when we're making an album, we like to take certain either weekends or whatever and go out and play a show to get that inspiration or to just to let it out, because we don't like being cooped up in the studio for that long. But we did not have that option. So what happened is that we ended up putting all of that emotion into the album because that was our only outlet. So the album became quite heavy, and everybody is on 11. I'm singing at my hardest and at my highest. My little brother is just going crazy. The guitars are heavier. It was kind of like we were in the studio saying, well, maybe we will never be able to play live, but we have this. So we put all of that energy into that. And we didn't realize that until we listened to the mixes that we're like, guys, I think we made a really heavy record. But it was because we didn't have the stage to let it out. So yeah, it was quite a different experience.
Lizzie est très présente sur les réseaux et assume ses prises de position. Récemment, elle a abordé la question de la santé mentale dans le magazine Forbes. Est-il plus facile d'en parler aujourd'hui?
I think that mental health is, it's getting there. There still is a stigma. There still are people that are very timid about whether or not they should be addressing it or talking about it or talking to somebody. We talk about this amongst ourselves all the time. We go to dentists for our teeth, and we go to physical doctors to make sure our hearts are working well, and we go. We should be going to a doctor that knows how to, poke around in our brains and help us figure out how to move forward from trauma, because we can't do, a lot of times, and this is for everybody, you can't really do it alone. You need to have somebody to talk to, and a lot of times that is somebody that is outside of your circle, outside of your friends, outside of your family. You need to find someone a therapist to talk to that can have that objective opinion, and that can be kind of anonymous, so that you are able to be your full self and you're not trying to prove something to anyone. And it was only, it's better than it was in my parents' generation, because I remember that being a big thing, whereas if you were going to a therapist, that meant you were crazy. you know? And so it's not like that anymore, but we can do better. So I've taken it upon myself to try to spread that, spread that message. And I've gotten into some amazing conversations about that.
Parmi les thèmes encore tabous, il y a un autre sujet qu'on n'aborde quasiment jamais dans le monde métal, c'est l'alcoolisme.
Absolutely. I've seen it firsthand, and I've seen it destroy lives and destroy careers. You know, there are certain vices in this world, especially with alcoholism, that it's widely accepted, and especially in this industry, it's almost encouraged. You know, so it's hard for people to get out of that loop. And yeah, I've been touring with bands for a long time, and I've seen people lose their lives because of it. I've seen people lose their careers or miss the opportunities because of it. So absolutely, I think that that's something that needs to be talked about more.
Halestorm est de retour sur scène. Avec le recul, Lizzy pense-t-elle avoir été transformée par l'expérience Covid?
To be back on stage after so much time, we're all different people now. You know, I don't think that we could have remained the same through everything that we've all collectively gone through in just all across the globe. There is a feeling of relief, like where we are back and we're very excited, but there's also this feeling of gratitude, you know, and just being so incredibly humbled and grateful to be there. You know, instead of, I feel like the difference between us as far as bandmates is that we don't really worry about the things that don't matter anymore. We go out on stage like it's our last night and like it's going to be stolen from us again. You know, so we're not taking anything for granted, and we are living in the moment. Instead of thinking about, oh, was it a perfect show, or was this happening, or oh, what about the crowd? Oh, what did you know? We don't get stressed out about that anymore. It's just we're here, and we're so excited to be here.
METALXS reviendra très prochainement sur une autre actualité de Lizzy, mais chut, pour l'instant c'est secret. Alors, restez connectés. Parmi les albums attendus dans les prochains jours, notez sur vos tablettes. L'ambassadeur du glam sleaze en France, Black Rain, revient 3 ans après Dying Breed. Untamed est produit par le leader de Kissing Dynamite, Hannes Brown. Retour aux sources avec Danse Macabre, un bon gros coffret 5 CD ou 8 vinyles pour célébrer les précurseurs fondateurs suisses du metal extrême, Celtic Frost. Le groupe de métal alternatif australien Circles délivre un EP, The Stories We Are Afraid of Volume 1, première sortie depuis l'album The Last One en 2018. League of Distortion, le projet Made in Germany de Anna Brunner d'Exit Eden et de Jim Muller de Kissing Dynamite, sort son premier album, League of Distortion. I'd Be Damned, ce sont des Danois qui ont baigné dans le rock, le sudiste et le métal. Culture est leur 3e album. Deuxième album pour le groupe d'origine tchèque, Induction, Born from Fire, s'adresse à tous les amateurs de power metal progressif et symphonique. Toujours dans l'avant-gardisme métallique, les Norvégiens In the Woods nous proposent un 6e album studio, Diversum. La chanteuse Leather avait réactivé son groupe en 2016 après une courte notoriété et un album à la fin des années 80. Heavy metal bien classique sur ce 3e disque, We Are the Chosen. Une autre gloire féminine des années 80, la Canadienne Lee Aaron, est elle aussi de retour avec Elevate. Une voix, de bonne guitare, de la mélodie et du hard rock. Au milieu d'une flopée de singles et de EP, depuis 4 ans, le groupe austro-germanique de metalcore Oceans publie son 2e album studio, Hell is Where the Heart Is. Le groupe de post-hardcore allemand Our Mirage sort son 3e album, Eclipse. À Las Vegas, on fait aussi du death thrash hardcore. Spirit World en est la preuve avec son second disque, Death Western. Il y en eut des swords dans l'histoire du métal, mais celui-ci, c'est l'authentique formation québécoise qui sort 3, son 3e album en 42 ans d'existence, faite de break, de hauts et de bas. Du deathcore de Pennsylvanie avec le nouvel EP de The Last 10 Seconds of Life, Disquisition on an Execution. En 2007, soit 3 ans avant la mort de Peter Steele, Typo Negative sortait ce qui sera son dernier album, Dead Again. C'est une édition 15e anniversaire qui paraît avec 9 titres live additionnels. Necrodeath, le groupe culte italien de Black Death Thrash Metal, sort son 13e album, Singing in the Pain. Direction la Finlande avec Emberian Dawn, qui, en guise de 10e album, a choisi de rendre un hommage, Take a Chance, a metal tribute to ABBA, revisité sauce power metal. Toujours la Finlande avec la ressortie de Far From the Sun d'Amorphis, à l'approche de son 20e anniversaire. Never Surrender, c'est le 6e album des Australiens Destroyer 666, et c'est toujours aussi black trash. Plus proche de nous, mais toujours black, le groupe français Jour Pâle publie Tension, 1 an après Éclosion. On change complètement d'univers avec l'un des meilleurs guitaristes de blues moderne, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, qui a décidé de réenregistrer son album vieux de 25 ans, Trouble Is, une nouvelle vision car à l'époque, il n'avait que 20 ans. Le Gros 4 live au Zénith de Strasbourg, c'est le document témoignage de la tournée qui réunissait Mass Hysteria, Ultra Vomit, No One is Innocent et Tagada Jones. Un CD, un vinyle ou un coffret plus étoffé, vous avez le choix du Best of Living the Dream pour célébrer la carrière solo de la reine du métal symphonique, Tarja. Le groupe de metalcore américain Wage War a cumulé les versions acoustiques de ses titres. Les voici réunis dans The Stripped Sessions. Et on finit sur un EP et non des moindres, Within Temptation et The Aftermath. Petit témoignage, série limitée tirée à 3000 exemplaires du show en réalité virtuelle que le groupe avait proposé en juillet 2021. Voilà, METALXS, c'est terminé pour aujourd'hui. On se retrouve dans 15 jours pour un nouveau numéro avec toujours plus d'interviews, de surprises et de contenus inédits. Un immense merci pour votre fidélité et n'oubliez pas de prolonger l'expérience métal sur RIFFX.fr. Salut!